I've been feeling the pull to share my story over the last couple of months, but with it being the end of Mental Health Awareness Month, just go ahead and share it now. So here it goes. I'll expand more on this in my blog post this weekend, but I was first diagnosed with severe depression back in May 2011. I had gone to a therapist's office where they diagnosed me and they also put me on Celexa. The doctor probably told me that medications like this take 6 to 8 weeks for the full effect, but in one ear, out the other. I took it and I started feeling funny, so I stopped. Obviously, not helpful. Then fast forward, started my nursing job in 2017. The first 2 years were rough. A lot of bullying, a lot of microaggressions. I still don't know why I even stayed even longer after that, but when you want something, you fight for it. But May, I don't know why, it's always been May for some reason, but May 2021, I remember that week. Can't remember what week it was, but it was in May. I was sitting, I had a sick kid, and I was just sitting, it was like 2 a.m., and I was just in the darkest spot that I've ever been in. And I just felt like I couldn't breathe. I was drowning. So I texted the crisis text line because I needed somebody to talk it through with, and they helped me calm me down. And then I also, on the other side of my pod, I went to one of my friends that I had gotten to know over the years of working at our staff job together, and I knew that she had gone through similar things in the past. And I asked her, "Do you know any therapists and all that stuff?" She's like, "Are you okay?" And of course, when someone asks you if you're okay, the floodgates start opening up. And I just told her everything that had been going on and just cried into her arms. She asked me if I wanted to come over and stay in her loft, so I wouldn't be alone. I was like, no, I'll be okay. I did stay up after that night, and I Googled therapists in the area. I called every single one. Obviously, there was a long wait list, and then it finally dawned on me, like, let me call the employee health clinic, see if they can help me. They were able to see me that morning, so I went in. The whole depression scale, it was high, and she got me a referral to a therapist. And she also started me on Zoloft, and I was like, this is actually like a little glimmer of hope. Even though when I called the therapist, the appointment, I didn't have one until July, but still, I had something to look forward to because I was going to stick with it this time. Fast forward to later in that week, Friday, May 18th, actually do remember this date. I was sitting in the break room, and sometimes we're like you're in a glass box or like you're slow motion, but everyone around you is going fast paced and everything's like muted, whatever, and like you're there. That's how I felt sitting in that break room. And then I, report all that stuff. And like, there's like, I know I'm still not okay, but I have to be like on a brave face and be strong when these parents are asking me questions and whatnot. And then they leave, and then I go to the Pyxis and get a medication. And then, of course, nurse comes up, and of course, she asks me, "Are you okay?" And again, when someone asks you if you're okay and you're not okay, the floodgates start opening up. So I was like, I just broke down, and I was like, I cannot be here. I need to go home. I just kept repeating that. Like, I have to go home. I can't be here. And I always say that was like my breakdown at work. Because that was just the culmination of everything just coming to a head. So went home, took the whole weekend off. I had to recoup. I just needed, just obviously not to be at work. I just needed to breathe. So started therapy in July, and the tools and just talking through stuff that I hadn't talked about in a while, especially stuff that happened in college. And it was very healing for me to get all that stuff out and then talk about stuff that happened in my childhood and growing up. It was just very healthy to get all that stuff out to someone that didn't know me, very unbiased, and it was nice. And then in December 2021 is when I started researching stuff about travel nursing. Now you're probably thinking, okay, you had mental breakdown at work in May, but now you're researching travel nursing, which is a very big leap. But again, I felt the pull that I needed to change something, and it was my scenery. I needed to change environments. I needed to get out there. So, as we all know, I started my travel nurse journey in May 2022. And for the first couple months that year, it was rough. Again, I wasn't around. Friendships, again, started away, and I kind of had a rough time with that. But now looking, I feel like that was probably for the best. I needed to completely disconnect myself from time in my life since I have I'm growing, becoming of myself. And over these past 4 years of being a travel nurse, I have grown leaps and bounds. And I just, every now and then I have that moment and I kind of like look, this is what kept telling me whenever I had those thoughts of suicide and all that stuff. It was like, there's something better out there for you. Just please just hold. It was that. And then I just didn't want to burden my parents. So those two things kept me holding on. I know that's not everyone's story. And I just, and I'm just an immense feeling of gratitude of where I'm at in life right now and what I fought so hard through all those ups and downs. Now, everything hasn't been perfect. I still have, little bouts of anxiety, but through therapy, and still on my medication, I have the tool to able recover myself whenever I am in those episodes. I can recognize the signs. I'm like, okay, step back, breathe, like recenter yourself, give you some positive self-talk, and just take time for yourself. You don't have to do everything that you wanted to do today. If it's bed rotting, that's what you need. And I've been better for it. And the people that I've met along this journey have become some of my biggest supporters. They've seen every facet of me and they still love me. And I'm grateful for you guys. And I know that there's some people that I haven't met yet that will love me for who exactly I am. But at the end of the day, I'm happy with who I am and I love myself and I am so proud of how far I've come, and it's been great and I cannot wait to see what else happens in the future. But I just want to remind you that you're not alone. And I know it's hard, especially as healthcare workers. We have long, daunting shifts. And if you have kids, leave your shift and you go home and take care of your family. If you're single like me, sometimes you have someone to come home to. So it's getting lonely. So that's why it's very important to find your people, find that safe space where you're allowed to like just be yourself, vent and just cry and all that stuff. It just like check in with your people, your friends, your siblings, your parents, and your coworkers. And so yeah, that's my story.